So hi, I am Amanda Myers and I'm the owner of Satin Touch Lingerie, also the Simply Yoga and Massage Centre. I think life was quite challenging having my father as a predominant role model in my teenage years, and we were encouraged to work quite hard. It was, if you want clothes or you want deodorant to wear, we had to work hard to do it. So from the age of 13 in Year 7, I took up my first job, and that was down at the Daily Advertiser. We'd get up at about 12, my elder sister and I, and go down and insert pamphlets into the paper. And then when I was in Year 11, I took up an apprenticeship down at the Daily Advertiser, which came up on offer. Over that time, I fell in love with my neighbour, and that would be Jason, who is now my husband and has been for nearly 23 years.
So there was only probably a 30-metre line of sight between the two properties. So I used to hang around with Mick, and Amanda used to hang around with Julianne, and just did all the standard sort of things you do when you're teenagers. And then I went flying over in New Zealand in '88 and just used to write her a few letters, and yeah, it sort of just developed from there.
After a long friendship and things flourished, and yeah, so I fell in love then. But we're best friends, and we still are best friends. So we obviously got married, and then we had our first 2 children in Sydney, and we moved back to Wagga in 1999. We rented our house out in Sydney, and we rented a house at Glenfield here and moved in. And we moved back because Jason was changing airlines and he was going to start flying for Kendal Airline. I took up a job at the Carriage House out here at the Quality Inn. The next 2 kids came along. So we had 9/11, 2 days later the collapse of Ansett. So we were part of the collapse of Ansett, and I was heavily pregnant with Rebecca, our 3rd child, and we just bought a house at Tatton, and everything was, good. Now we have a 3rd baby coming, we have no job, and we just bought a house in Tatton. Anyway, that's okay. We soldiered on, and Rex was born. We did quite a bit of campaigning to get Kendal back up in the air. Being good friends with Kay Hull was very handy. I was on to Kay, and we had quite a few rallies, and I was pregnant with Rebecca, walking the streets of Wagga saying we save our jobs, save our airline, basically. Joshua decided he was coming into the world, our 4th child, and he was born in August 2003. My auntie owned Satin Touch Lingerie for 19 years. So through the family grapevine, I heard that she was selling the business, or she was ready to retire. And I'd sort of decided with Jason that this is something that I could do. So we bought the business from my aunt. It was down in the Australian Arcade at that point. We just sort of juggled things around to make it work. And then I decided that after 3 years I was, let's look for a shop. Let's look for a shop to move the business. And anyway, 234 Baylor Street came up, and it was actually the old Studio Image building. We sort of walked through and put in an offer, and the owner took the offer. We put the hoarding up at the front on the main street, and basically you would go through the hoarding, and it was dirt. Pretty much dirt. I'm not a real figures sort of person. I sort of just roll. If everything rolls for me, I'm really happy. I'm not one of the business people who sit down and go through things analytically and check figures and monthly turnovers and have daily limits and I have never been like that. I mean, things increased. I'd poured all the money out of the business back into the business. And I feel like most of the time that's what I do still anyway, 14 years later. The story behind Simply Yoga. 10 years ago in May, so we're building a house, I'm running Satin Touch, the 4 kids, and everything to me just got a bit overloaded. I realised that you can't be too busy, you can't have busy all the time. So where I was at 35 was too busy. I ended up at the doctor's in tears, thinking I had a brain tumour because of my head. My head was a bit scattered. Quite scattered, really. So I feel like anxiety, I was suffering anxiety, panic attacks, and they wanted to give me a pill to fix that. So, and that just didn't work for me. So I started yoga. So I spent the next 3 to 6 years with a brilliant teacher and devoted myself to the studio and the practice of yoga for the next 6 years, 2 or 3 days a week. You know, yoga just became a priority in my life. Yoga means union, so it doesn't mean stretching, all right? It doesn't mean we all have to be stretching out and twisting in knots. And I had ideas just everywhere, what I wanted to do with yoga, and I just had to take that next step. So I decided to set up my garage. I don't care what I'm doing here, I'm just going to teach yoga, right? Because I go to Accelerate, and I knew a lot of people from there, so they all started to come and do classes with me, and that was great. I was like, right, well, I need to find another space. 8 years ago, I saw the 2 buildings come up for sale, and I wanted to buy them because I wanted to put a yoga studio in central Wagga. So we knocked the whole thing over. It was pretty well dirt again. So it's been established now just over 3 years. And here we are, growing so much that we're renovating next door. All the teachers are independent. So they rent the space here from me. I built this place never to employ anybody. I built this place so that other women or men could rent the space and create their own business and their own journey with their yoga teaching and massage. I really work towards staying present and just dealing one thing at a time, and that way life's not too hard. And if I need to ask someone, I'm going to ask them. My accountant, my bank, but most of the time they'll probably tell you that I'm really bossy, and they'll probably say, she just makes us do it. And look, I just say to them, I pay you guys enough money between the bank and the accountant. I pay you enough money for me not to have to do anything. Is that fair? I think that's fair.
She can be demanding at times. She knows what she wants.
It's a great mantra to live by. I am a priority in my own life. It's not just all about everybody else, right? It's my life too, and I only get one shot at it. So this is it. And I'm going to do everything that I can in it. And my kids are beautiful and balanced. They're healthy, they're happy. They've had yoga in their lives for the last 11 years. They all do yoga.
We got married in 1996, so we've been married for 22 years. Yeah, I think we've still got that spark. We've got a pretty good balance, really. She's very loyal to the family. She's very dedicated to the kids and their development and her own and mine. She's fit. She looks after her health really well. So she's fairly balanced.
I mean, look, I've got no complaints, really. I've got a lovely life and it's balanced, and I sit here in this beautiful studio, and every time I walk through the door, I feel peace and harmony. There's happiness all around me. Students are happy. The people who work out of the studio are happy, and my kids are happy and balanced because they see mum, happy, and I respect myself and I prioritise myself. And I think a lot of women don't do that. And this place is built on passion. The end. The minute I start to teach yoga for money, I quit. I'm done. It will never ever be about money to me.